What is going on, guys? This is Ben here, bringing another Brawl Stars video. Today, I wanted to talk about Brawler supers. So I want to specifically talk about which ones are the best supers in the game and which ones are like the worst supers in the game. But saying that kind of feels weird because obviously every Brawler super in the game is helpful for the Brawler. Every Brawler is better when they have their supers. So it's tough to say which ones are the worst. The way that I look at it is which ones are the least game changing and which ones are the least impactful or change the Brawler to when they do get them. So that's when I go over the worst ranking, just so you guys know, that's how I'm ranking them. It's not like they're terrible or they make the Brawler worse by any means. It's just not as game changing as some other ones. So first though, I want to talk about the best supers. So we'll be ranking these here. We'll go all the way from worst to first here. But basically, I kind of slimmed it down and only picked the top 5 for the best ones that I wanted to talk about, just to slim down a little bit on video length and everything. But the 5th place Brawler super, which is on the best tier, is going to be Spike. Spike's super is so versatile. I honestly did want to rank this higher, but for the time being, I think 5th is pretty solid compared to the other supers that we are going to be talking about. But Spike's super has so much, it basically just helps him out so much. He can, once you get his star power, it can basically heal him up. It can zone Brawlers, it can slow down Brawlers, it's good for crowd control, it's good for even damaging and finishing off Brawlers. It is such a awesome super that I feel like once you play Spike, once you learn how to master, like, basically once you learn the best scenarios to use a super, which is if you have the star power, use it when you're about to die sometimes, when you're about to zone some Brawlers from getting somewhere, when you're hiding in a bush, someone's about to run on you, slow them down, crowd control an area, which is basically zoning them. And another thing about the super is Spike gets it relatively fast, which is huge because the thing about the supers is you want to get them quick, you want them to be impactful, you want them to be good. The one Brawler that did not make the list this time is Taro. The reason why is because you don't get it enough. Yes, it's a great super, it's so good. It's really hard to get. They need to make Tara's super easier to get to make her a little bit more relevant. Than she's kind of fallen off recently, but that's a different story. Spike's overall just such a good, like, Spike has been a good Brawler forever since he's been released, and he just continues to be Mr. Consistent. And once you literally once you get your hands on him, once you actually unlock him, because I feel like that's the difficult part, unlocking Spike to play him. He's just crazy, and I fully deserving of this 5th spot. Now, number 4, this one would be higher too with how game changing it is, but it is hard to land sometimes, and that is Frank. Frank has probably the coolest super in the game. Probably the most, how do you say it? Like, when you land a full stun on the entire enemy team, there is no better feeling in Brawl Stars, I feel like. And then you actually end up taking care of them. With Frank, when you land a super on a Brawler, usually it's over for them because you just mainly have to usually basically auto aim your attack, and it's gonna hit them in like 3 hits. Unless there's like some crazy power level difference, like I'm facing that right now because Frank is the power level in Brawler I'm pushing up next. And I'm facing it sometimes where it's like I super stun someone or whatever, but I'm not able to finish them off because my main attack doesn't deal enough damage because they're like power level 9 or 10 or something. So that's the only instance. Other than that, he's gonna basically destroy them. The downside with Frank though in his super is he can get stunned out of it or pushed out of it. There's multiple ways of doing this now. It's like a Gene pull, a Tara push, like whenever she drags him, BB knocking him back. So that is the reason why we had to drop it a little bit. He used to be a little bit higher up, but when you land it, it is so impactful. He breaks the wall, so good in Brawl Ball. Even when he's camping in a bush to unexpected people walking around, just stuns them. So awesome. Not to mention in Siege, it actually stuns the Ike, or the IKE, whatever you want to call it. It stuns it for the full duration of his time now. The only downside of Frank's super is he still has not got the full duration in Big Game back, which is understandable because it used to be pretty bad, where Franks would just stun lock a boss Brawler, and then it was not fun for the boss Brawler. It would be over instantly. But basically, Frank's super is just super impactful, easy to get, does a ton of damage, helps him out, and it's crazy. So that's why we have it. And you have to be careful whenever Frank gets his super. You have to play passive and kind of push back, unless you can like knock him out of it, like with the Shelly super or the other ways that we mentioned. So Frank, I feel like is deserving of the 4th spot. And number 3, this was arguably number 1, number 2, but with the latest nerfs, kind of multiple nerfs there now, I feel like this is a good place, and it is Rosa. So Rosa is basically, whenever you get this super, it's like an invincibility shield. Now, right when she was released, this was definitely number one because she could literally get her super, chain it every time she was fighting someone, and she basically would always have her super. Now it takes, is it 11 hits to get her super, or is it 10? I forget. I think it's 11. But it's harder for her to chain her super now, and it only lasts like 3 seconds. So it's still like a beefy invincibility shield. Technically reduces 70% of damage, but you guys get it. You get the point. She can eat a lot of damage, but it's harder for her to get it now. She cannot chain them. But when you do, and you use it at the right time, she can't be killed. I feel like this is not much controversy here. The only controversy is maybe putting this higher in the next tier. I was flipping back and forth on 3 and number 2. I wanted to put Rosa number 2, but I just feel like the other one is a little bit better still. But even so, Rosa super. She's a monster. Her supers are crazy. She doesn't die when she gets it unless she's like already at no health pretty much. But you guys have, pretty much everyone's probably faced it by now. A Rosa running at you with a super and you can't do anything. That's why it's so impressive. She's quick. She's fast. It's insane. And I feel like that's worthy. Now, number 2. This probably was number 1 before this recent balance change. And it is Jean. Like I said, I was flipping Rosa and Jean back and forth. It's kind of like a coin flip. I was like, we'll see it. The reason why Jean is number 2 is because his super got chopped in, what was it, a third of it pretty much? It used to have such a long range. Now, it's still pretty long range, but you have to put yourself in a little bit more danger for it to go off. But the fact that he can still drag through walls is ridiculous to me. So, Jean's super, still game-changing. It can literally turn the tide instantly. And he gets it relatively quickly. It's pretty easy to land now. The width of it's crazy. The speed of it is insane. The only change is like that little range. I think it was like a tile and a third or something is what got reduced for it. I don't think Jean needs much explaining here. Like, the game changingness of it can literally turn the tide into gem grab match. He can pull unexpected brawlers in bounty. Now with the change to the range a little bit, it's not as good in bounty obviously, but it's still 7.66 tiles I think is what it is. It's still insane. And it has like the added little stun, plus to top that off too, now when you drag with a super, it no longer lets the enemies that he's dragging regen. It resets the regen time. So Jean, I feel like this is deserved. You could say, well, why wouldn't Taro be up here as well? Like, for reasons stated earlier, she's probably number 6. Honestly, you could argue maybe even top 5 with Taro's super. But the reason why I don't have it on this list is because how long it takes to get, and how Taro is as a brawler right now. She's very, like I said, she's fallen out of favor a lot. The brawlers that I wanted to put up here, exception of maybe Frank, are brawlers that are really good right now and good in a lot of modes and everything. So that has a little bit to do with it as well. Now, number 1 super, if you haven't guessed it already, it's probably the most broken mechanic that's ever been introduced into Brawl Stars. It is Leon. The invisibility. Just gotta say this. Whenever a brawler can't be seen and can just run up on you and melt you, that's crazy. And they've done so many nerfs to Leon, and no matter how much they nerf it, it's still gonna be good. It's still gonna be broken in a sense, because invisibility is just too crazy. Like, it's insane. So that's why Leon super is always deserving on the number 1 spot. I really like him in Showdown because Leon is basically the embodiment of anti-teaming, because he can just go invis, run straight to whoever's teaming, take him out, and get out of there. It's so awesome. So I really like him in Showdown, even though he is kind of scary to play against. You can get blindsided. If you guys checked my recent Showdown, what did I call it? The best brawlers in Showdown was Leon was number 1 in that one. You guys saw I had 6 power cubes, and Leon had 1 power cube, and I was not expecting that Leon to come running at me super, and he actually melted me, and because I was not expecting it. And even so, like, the reaction time you have to even fight stand a chance to maybe kill him, it's gotta be quick. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's I guess it's more OP when you do get the star power, because the star power literally gives him that insane speed boost. When he doesn't have the star power, you have a little bit more time to react. But just invisibility, run around the map, is crazy, and it's pretty game changing too, because he can go and snipe a gem carry. He can go and snipe. What I mean by snipe is go like track them down invisibility wise and go take them out. Leon, I think, is well deserving of the #1. Now, obviously, these are my opinions on the top brawler list for the supers. You could have your opinions. Let me know what you guys think of them. I really do want to get quick to the worst brawler supers. Keep in mind, the worst brawler supers don't mean they're bad. It just means they're the least game-changing or changing to the brawler or impactful and whatnot. So, number 3, I have Colt. The reason why I have Colt is because he does so much damage as it is. His main attacks, just think of it like an added main attack. That's what his super is. That can break walls and has a little bit more range. So, that's kind of all with Colt, like his super does. I mean, you could say, well, it's super game changing because he can break walls and open up the maps. A lot of brawler supers can open up the walls and break maps and everything. For me, I just see Colts as an added main attack. It's really, like I said, I really want to get this point across. It is super tough to gauge which brawlers are like the least game changing and not impactful and everything, because all the supers are impactful, okay? I just want to make that clear. So it's hard to say this. Like, what would you guys think are like the least impactful or game changing? I guess that's a better way to say it. But number 2 is gonna be Mortis. The reason for Mortis is you can use it to survive. You can use it to sometimes snipe. But in general, with Mortis, if you are trying to jump on someone and take care of them, usually you're gonna be okay taking them out, because a lot of times you're gonna go jump on someone when they're weak. You're gonna play him as the assassin type as well. And the super, like I said, it's nice sometimes to get those snipe shots and whatnot and keep them alive to get that added healing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really change too much how you play Mortis. It doesn't really change too much whether you're going to attack or not with Mortis. The only really change is his survivability with it. And I feel like that's the reason why he's at number 1, though. This one's gonna get a lot of hate. It's gonna get a lot of hate because you're gonna say it'll allow you to change her to be able to be a little bit more aggressive and jump out. But number 1 is Piper. It just does not match her kit. Piper is a long-range brawler, and she does 0 damage basically up close. It's kind of counterintuitive. Like, you want to stay at a far range with Piper, you want to keep it at a distance, and if you get too close, it's nice to have that super to get out, but it technically doesn't really change how much you're playing her. You're always going to try and stay at far range, try and snipe down and take them out. It is nice to have the ability to open up the walls and open up the map with her super, and if you get into a sticky situation, be able to hop out and get out of there. But it doesn't change too much how you're playing her. It's not really a game-changing thing. The only really probably the biggest game-changing thing I can see about Piper super is, say you're playing gem grab and you're making yourself you're taking a risk trying to grab some gems, and you know that you're going to be in a bad spot, but you have your super, so you can hop out of there, get your added distance, and get out of there safely. Or you can break the walls, like I said, to open up the map, because that's more advantageous for you because you do a ton of damage. But you're still trying to be far range. Keep your distance at all time with Piper, so that's why I feel like it's the least impactful. Like I said, this was so tough for me to judge. If you disagree, just let me know. Like, what do you guys think is like the least impactful or like the least game-changing supers in the game? Another one that I thought I wanted to put on here was Bull, but then at the same time, it's like, you use that a lot in Heist to get right to the safe, jump by brawlers. You can use it as an escape. Brawl Ball, it can be used too. It's just difficult because, like I said, every super is good. It's just judging which ones are the least impactful and whatnot. But that's the list for the best ones and the worst ones. Let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more awesome Brawl Stars videos. And I'll see you guys later.